Okay, here we go. This is Geometry 1.5, angle pairs. We're going to start with some terms and definitions today. So let's dive right in here with adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two coplanar angles with a common side, a common vertex, and no common interior points. Now this is not my favorite definition because that's a little complicated, whereas really adjacent angles are pretty easy to think about. Adjacent, the word adjacent just means next to. Okay, so my room, the math room, is adjacent to the kitchen, as most of you guys know. Um, so adjacent angles are just next to each other. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. Okay, because they're next to each other. All right, easy as that. Moving on. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles whose sides are opposite rays. Rays. All right, and really important here, vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so let's write an example of that. Let's do two intersecting lines. All right, so a vertical angle be like here. Let's actually label all these. We'll do label one. Start with 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and so vertical angles, it's easier to look at this way because it's vertical, but angle 2 and angle 4, right, because they're vertical, these are going to be congruent angles. Okay, it's a little harder to notice that 1 and 3 are also vertical angles, but they still fit that requirement because they are two angles whose sides are opposite rays, because these rays together make a straight line. Okay, that is opposite rays. So right for this diagram here, we've got two different sections of opposite rays. So we have angle 1 and angle 3, and angle 2 and angle 4. All right, complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles whose measures have a sum of 90 degrees. And remember, sum just means they add up, right? Sum is the answer to an addition problem, so the angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay, each angle is the complement, we say. Okay, so let's write an example of that. Let's do an easy one, like let's make a nice right angle. Okay, we know it's a right angle, it's got that little box there. And let's make a ray coming out here. There we go. All right, so we'll say this angle here, angle 1 and angle 2, together, those add up to be the big right angle. Okay, so this would be angle 1 and angle 2. All right, now complementary angles don't have to be adjacent, right? We just mentioned that adjacent angles are touching. We could have one angle here being 40 degrees. We'll say that this is 40-degree angle A, and angle B is not touching, but it's 50 degrees. Well, 50 plus 40 is 90 degrees, so I could also say that angle A and angle B are complementary angles. Okay? All right, moving on. Supplementary angles are two angles whose measures have a sum of 180, so they add up to 180, and each angle is the supplement. And I always keep these together because like C is like half of an S. Like there's an S and a C is two of those. So 1 is 90 and an S is like a forward C and a backward C together, so 90 plus 90 is 180. I don't know if that helps. Maybe it does. It helps for me. Maybe it helps you. I don't know. But let's make an example of this. Let's do, so two supplementary angles. Boom. We'll do a straight line and a ray coming out of here. So we have angle 1 and angle 2. Together, they have a sum of 180 degrees. So angle 1 and angle 2. And again, just like the last one, we do not have to have, these do not have to be adjacent. So I could just have an angle off here that is, we'll say that this is 60 degrees. And then I got a big obtuse angle over here. And we'll say that this is 120 degrees. And 120 plus 60 is 180. So I can say that angle A and angle B are supplementary. Okay? All right, moving on. So let's take a look at identifying some of these. So identifying the adjacent angles, the first thing we got to look at. I'm going to zoom way in on this. All right, adjacent angles. Let me go back up a little. Okay, adjacent angle. Again, adjacent just means next to. So there's actually a lot here. Okay, so adjacent, okay, 1 and 2 are next to each other. Angle 1 and angle 2. Well, I'm going to have to switch on over to a smaller pen. There we go. Angle 1 and angle 2 are next to each other. Angle 3 and angle 4 are next to each other. Angle 4 and 5. What else? 5 and 1. And angle 1. And I think that's it. Maybe 2 and 3. Did I mention that one? Angle 2 plus angle 3 would also be adjacent. It just means they're next to each other. That's it. Pretty easy to identify. They don't have to add up to anything special. They're just next to each other. Okay? All right, vertical angles. Vertical angles, there's only one set of vertical angles here, and that would be right here, angle 5 and angle 3. 3 and angle 5. Those would be vertical angles. All right, complementary, just to remind ourselves, these have to add up to 90 degrees. Let's see, do any of these add up to 90 degrees? We do not know, okay, because none of these are labeled with their degrees, so we do not know. We're going to say that none of these are complementary. Okay. What about supplementary? Supplementary is a little bit easier to identify because they add up to 180 degrees, which means they form a straight line. Okay. And I think the easiest one to recognize here would be the straight line right here. Angle 5 plus angle 4, these ones are going to create 180 degrees because that's a straight line across, right? From here all the way over there, that's 180 degrees. Okay, so angle 5 and angle 4 are supplementary. And anything else? How about angle 3 and angle 4? Because together they're going to form a straight line. And if you're wondering why is the straight line 180 degrees, if I complete this, we know that a circle is 360 degrees, so if a line cuts it in half, that is how we know that a straight line is exactly 180 degrees. Okay, so let's write this one down. Angles 3 and angle 4 are supplementary as well. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look here. All right, now we're going to actually have to do a little bit of math here, I think. All right, so we're going to look at this diagram here. Angle AFE and angle EFD. All right, so let's take a look. AFE, A, F, and E. All right, so they're talking about this angle here. And FD. E, F, and D. Okay, now it's this one. All right, so maybe at first glance you're not really sure. But if we look here, we got 62 and 118. What does that add up to? 180 degrees. So these are supplementary. Okay, those are supplementary angles. All right, moving on. AFE, okay, that's this one again. And BFC, where's that? BFC, okay, that's this angle right here. So we have 62 degrees and 28 degrees. What are those? 62 plus 28, oh, that's 90. Those are complementary. All right, erase that. Angle BFC, BFC, okay, that was this one again. And CFD, CFD, okay, that's right here. So what are those? Well, hold on a second. We're not really quite sure, but if AFE is 62 degrees, and we might notice here that these two angles are formed by opposite rays. So if this AFE is 62 degrees, then I know that this angle is also 62 degrees. So this one is, again, 62 plus 28 is 90. So these are complementary. Oh, that's a really bad spelling. Let me try that again. Complementary. And just so we also know, these angles are next to each other, so I'm just going to mention that they are also adjacent. Okay? And let's see here. AFE and angle CFD are AFE and CFD. Oh, well, I kind of already gave that away. That's a shame. But if we know that they're congruent, they're formed by opposite rays, and then these are called vertical angles. All right. So there we go. I think that is it for this video. Why don't you guys give problems 1 through 16 a shot, and we'll see you in my next video. Later.